Okay. Let me see Metta recital. Remove spotlight. Okay. Very good. Make it full screen. Metta recital full screen. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Let us begin our Metta recital. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment. Whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake, one should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta in our mind, let us begin our meditation as we repeat at every session. Let me begin our regular instructions. At this time, we focus our mind on our breathing. Be aware of your breath, paying total attention to the breath without verbalizing or conceptualizing. Let the breath flow in and out, and you notice the breath and notice the expanding and contracting your abdominal area as you breathe in and out, your chest area rising and falling, and notice the breath and breathing in and out. At this time, your breath, as you pay attention to it without verbalizing, you notice the breath becoming calmer and calmer and more and more relaxed, more and more soft and gentle. The body becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. The mind becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. And then whatever desire is there is not active, or there is no room for desire to arise when the mind is so calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Desire agitates the mind, excites the mind, but when the mind is calm and relaxed and peaceful, desire does not arise. At the same time, you notice your metta feeling taking root in your mind. When metta works predominantly, resentment or anger does not arise at that time. These two, metta and resentment, do not exist at the same time. When metta arises, resentment fades away. Then the mind becomes even more calm, more relaxed, more peaceful. The breath becomes calm, relaxed, and peaceful. At this time, we also must make sure under this condition we may feel sleepy or drowsy. Sleepiness and drowsiness, we understand, is very sweet. We sometimes welcome it, but even though it is sweet, this is not the time to sustain, nourish sleepiness and drowsiness. So we have to overcome by visualizing very bright light or taking deep breath and holding it as long as you can, and then slowly breathe out. When you do that several times, your body warms up and you even perspire. The sleepiness disappears and you arouse your energy to overcome sleepiness. Once the mind is energetic, sleepiness fades away, but the opposite of it can arise, that is restlessness and worry. When restlessness and worry arises, you cannot make the mind calm, relaxed and peaceful. Mind is vacillating between the past and the future, remembering numerous past things that you have done incorrectly or incompletely. That's how the mind goes to the past. Or you may plan the future. Then the mind becomes too active planning the future. But in this meditation practice, we have to bring the mind to the present moment and keep it anchored on the present moment without letting the mind vacillate between the past and future like a pendulum. To anchor the mind on the present moment, we have very meaningful tool, that is our breath. We stick to the breath and notice the breath now even calmer than before. As soon as restlessness and worry disappears, the mind becomes even calm and relaxed and peaceful. However, in spite of all this success achievement, we still may have some doubts. We have to overcome our doubt. The way to overcome our doubt is to recollect the qualities of the Buddha, the supremely enlightened Buddha, who, without any external support, attained full enlightenment by following the Dhamma. Buddha taught us meditation from his own personal experience. He found Vipassana method, just like 6 previous Buddhas, Vipassiki, Vesabu, Kakusanda, Purnagamana, Kassapa. These 6 Buddhas followed the Vipassana method. Our Gautama Buddha also followed that and attained full enlightenment. And we must have full confidence in the Buddha who followed the Dhamma. And therefore Dhamma is even above the Buddha, because Buddha made Dhamma his teacher, and we follow the Buddha as well as the Dhamma. And Dhamma, if we follow Dhamma, we certainly can liberate ourselves from samsaric suffering. We must have this confidence. Many millions of his disciples, ordained and not ordained, attained the same state of enlightenment as the Buddha himself by following the Dhamma. So we are on that tradition, and therefore we too can attain the same state of enlightenment if we sincerely follow the Dhamma. Moreover, we already have overcome our hindrances by step. We have overcome our greed, resentment, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry, and therefore we ourselves have been successful to some extent, so we can have confidence in our own practice. Having overcome these, what we call hindrances, we are in a very calm, relaxed position. In fact, when hindrances are overcome, joy arises in us, which grows by degrees until we gain happiness. When we gain happiness, happy state of mind, gains concentration easily. When we gain concentration, we don't become like a vegetable. Concentrated mind is sharpest state where the deepest awareness of rising and falling or impermanence becomes conspicuous, very clear. With this clear, sharp, deep concentration, we focus the mind on our own feelings, perceptions, thoughts, and consciousness. And we see when we experience them, they all are changing very fast. As they change very fast, there's nothing for us to hold on to. That means there is no greed, no resentment, no confusion. That's what we want to achieve, to make the mind free from greed, hatred, and delusion. This is very systematic way that we practice to liberate ourselves from samsaric suffering, and all this may not happen in this short period, during this short period, but this is what happens eventually as we keep practicing. So let us spend few minutes practicing meditation. I don't have a bell with me right now, but I indicate the end of this short meditation session by reciting my so-called benediction. So let us practice some meditation now. Okay. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish. May I join always with the wise until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, friends, it is time for you to ask questions. I think Brian will read the questions for me, and I'd like to hear your questions.
Okay, Bhante G, the first question actually came from someone who sat the Metta retreat with us last week.
Uh-huh.
And here's what they wrote. Dear Bhante, in Loving Kindness in Plain English, a book I love, you offer 4 suggested loving friendliness meditations in appendix number 2. In number 1 and number 3, one is asked to offer loving friendliness to people in this order: to oneself, to one's parents, to one's teachers, to one's relatives, to one's friends, and finally to indifferent persons, to unfriendly persons, and finally to all living beings. Then, in today's Dhamma talk, so that was April 9th, in your April 9th Dhamma talk inaugurating the Metta retreat, you seem to be saying that offering metta wishes to those people closest and dearest to us, parents, teachers, relatives, and friends, is not genuine metta practice. Perhaps I misunderstood. Surely these people are also deserving of our loving friendliness. Thank you for your wise teaching.
So, what is your question?
Let's see. Let me just get the gist of it here.
If you are satisfied with your message, press 1 to listen to your message. Press 2 to erase and re-record. Press 3 to continue recording where you left off. Press 4.
Yeah.
Are you still there? If you are satisfied with your message.
Bhante G, I think
It is just a statement, not a question, right?
I think what they're asking is in your book, Loving Kindness and Loving Friendliness in Plain English, you say to go from the people that we love the most and to the people that we have the most difficulties with. Yeah. And then at the Metta retreat, I think maybe you gave a different Metta instruction, and they just wanted to understand.
Right. I think what I said during the Metta retreat on the 9th is more improved version of practice. I must say, it is more close to the text where Buddha mentioned directional practice. Directional practice of metta doesn't specify any particular human beings, whether parents or relatives and so on. Moreover, I based that talk on Karaniya Metta Sutta, Metta discourse, where there is no such division a classification of parents, teachers, and so on. There we find those who are visible, invisible, born, coming to birth, long, large, medium, short, subtle, or gross, and so on. There we don't see this classification of parents, teachers, and so on. So I think what I mentioned needs to be altered or edited and go very close to the Buddha's own explanation. Surely when we mention all living beings, our parents, teachers, relatives, friends, indifferent persons, and hostile persons, and all are included in one. When we say all, when we say all, it sounds very abstract for some people. Therefore, for their sake, I made this classification in the past. Now, when they have been practicing meditation for a long period of time, my classification can be overlooked and can be classified as a lower class. We are graduated. When we are in graduation school, graduation class, we follow the Buddha's teaching very closely, and we see it even more altruistic, more sublime, and there we see the real meaning of boundlessness, unconditionality of the practice. The practice has to be unconditional. Even though metta itself is not something permanent, metta itself is subject to change because it is mentally created. Whatever mentally created is subject to change. And yet, the way the Buddha taught us is more effective, more altruistic. For instance, when we say directional practice, Buddha said in above, below, and all around in Karaniya Metta Sutta. Above, below, and all around means 10 directions. So, suppose we start practicing in the eastern direction. Eastern direction has no limit. The beings living in eastern directions also are illimitable, boundless in number. Similarly, in all directions, when we focus mind in all, and say, may all beings be well, happy, and peaceful, and so on, we, in our mind, we know that the directions are boundless, illimitable. The beings are unlimited, and therefore the practice is unlimited. It is more altruistic. At the lower level, this is very abstract. At this level, it is very profound and deep. So that is what I emphasize these days. Next question.
Thank you, Bhante G. The next question is, could you please explain if right effort is in practice, or let me rephrase. Could you please explain if we are practicing right effort when we are observing the 5 hindrances in meditation and when we're not meditating?
When we apply right effort, we still are practicing meditation because right effort is in the Noble Eightfold Path. Noble Eightfold Path is to be practiced. Bhavetabba. Buddha said Bhavetabba means it should be developed, cultivated, practiced. Whatever we develop and cultivate, that is our meditation, our bhavana. And therefore right effort it belongs to the bhavana or meditation section. But however, it is not just concentration. It is very active state of mind. Actively we have to uh, direct our mind or energize our mind to prevent unarisen, unwholesome, evil mental states like hindrances. Hindrances are unwholesome, unprofitable, and preventing our attaining liberation. Therefore, they call unwholesome. We want to prevent that. Second effort is when they arise, we have to apply our effort to overcome them. That is also meditation practice. As soon as they disappear, wholesome mental state we must deliberately arouse in our mind. That is meditation. Once wholesome mental state arises, we have to develop, cultivate, practice, multiply, repeat in order to maintain our practice. And therefore, right effort itself is active meditation practice. And that practice overcome our hindrances, arouse the opposite of them, and then gradually lead the mind to gaining concentration. We gain concentration, and as I mentioned earlier, that is samadhi, last step of the Noble Eightfold Path, which we use to see impermanence very deeply in our five aggregates. Okay, this is how right effort becomes a part of meditation.
Thank you, Bhante G. So you're saying that right effort can be practiced on the cushion and off the cushion.
Surely, surely.
And the other question, just to clarify, I think this person wants to know if they are actively observing the five hindrances. Are they practicing right effort?
Right. Actively observing, practicing right effort, practicing meditation. This is Vipassana tradition. Vipassana tradition, mind is active. Yeah.
Okay, Bhante G, they had a follow-up question. This person wrote, is wise reflection the same as right effort?
Yeah, wise reflection, it belongs to mindfulness practice. It's called Yoniso Manasikara. There we have wise reflection is the translation of Yoniso Manasikara. Yoniso Manasikara means reflecting or paying attention to the very root of something. Yoni is the origin, root, beginning. When we experience greed, we must go to the root of greed. Root of greed is ignorance. If we experience hatred, we must go to the root of hatred. Root of hatred is ignorance and greed. We must go to the root of confusion. Root of confusion is avidya, ignorance. So from knowing them from the root, and then we learn how they grow, this is called mindful reflection or yoniso manasikara, wise attention. Wise attention also, yoniso manasikara also means, manasikara means bringing to the mind or making it very clear in the mind. Manasikara means putting, literally putting in the mind, meaning becoming aware of what is happening. So that is also part of right effort.
Thank you, Bhante G.
Okay, yeah.
The next question is based on your Dhamma talk yesterday. This person asks, you mentioned yesterday about one of the benefits of samadhibala is nanadasana. This includes one having the ability to see one's previous lives and life of others passing away and taking rebirth. I'm wondering if this ability requires all four jhanas or a pre-jhanic peaceful mind.
No, all four jhanas. Only when one attains the fourth jhana, one is endowed with 8 qualities. Fourth jhana has these qualities. So Buddha said, Evam parisuddhe, pariyodate, anangane, vigatupakkilese, mudubhute, kammaniye, tite, ananjapatte, pubbe nivasanuse jnanam, jnana chittang abhininnameti. That means, thus purified, parisuddha. Pariyodata means white. Anangana without idiosyncrasies. Mudubhuta soft. Kammaniya pliable. Thita steady. Ananjapatta imperturbable. With these qualities, the mind is so flexible, clear. With that state of mind, this state of mind one should direct towards knowing the existence of previous lives. And that's what the Buddha did, that he was able to recollect many countless aeons of his previous lives. And then also he used this knowledge to see other people dying and taking rebirth according to their karma. Yatha kammupage jnana. And that he was able to do using this clear, pure state of mind of the fourth jhana. And then he used this same knowledge, this clarity of mind, to destroy defilements, called destruction or defilement. Asava jnana chittang abhininnameti. All these are possible only when one attains the fourth jhana. Before that, these qualities are not in the mind, and therefore the person cannot have these skills, these powers in lower jhanas. One has to attain the fourth jhana. Yes.
Thank you, Bhante G.
You are welcome.
Next question. Why is it that as I progress with my meditation practice, I feel heavy in my thoughts, feelings, and perceptions in relation to how I see the world and human-to-human relationships in the mundane everyday? Notions of happiness before I encounter mindfulness meditation could no longer be aroused, and I could now feel the weight of the world is bearing upon me.
I see. Yes, I know you let the world weigh you down, you are sort of a victim of your own mental state. And as I mentioned yesterday, you have to focus your mind on the world that is within you. You focus the mind on the world, outside world. No, if you go thinking of outside world, you can go crazy. So many trillions of things are happening in the outside world. Don't waste your time. You can never solve any question, any problem in the world, outside world. Therefore, don't do that. Focus your mind on your inner world. What you have in your inner world, you have body, your feeling, your perception, your thought, your consciousness, your eyes, your ears, your senses, and your sensory stimuli, object. These are things you have to, if you think of, uh, suppose you remember certain events happening this very moment. The world is full of so many people, so many beings. They are born with so many other conditions. They are greed, hatred, and delusion, and so on. So there is no end to that. It is just waste of time. And therefore, don't let the world weigh you down, but try to focus your mind. You can have some control of your own world, but no control whatsoever of outside world. And therefore, dear friend, whoever asked the question, try to focus on your own mental state, physical state, your experiences, your perceptions, your thoughts, and your consciousness. This is exactly what we have to do in meditation. And this is exactly what the Buddha asked us to do if you want to practice Dhamma. Not thinking, why, even while the Buddha was alive, so many things were happening in the world. There were fights, they were killing, they were stealing, and so on. So Buddha could not stop for any of them. He could not stop. He was able to train the people to stop their own personal inner conflicts, solution, problems. And that's what we have to do. Okay?
Thank you, Bhante G. I think we have time for just one more short question. Will you please explain the concept of near enemy and far enemy?
Yeah, that's also near enemy is our loved ones. Our greed, desire. Desire is near enemy. As I mentioned, if we think that if somebody says that I practice metta towards my wife, my husband, my children, my brother, and so forth, what you do, you are deceiving yourself in the name of metta. You love your parents anyway, you love your wife and children anyway in a mundane sense. You don't need any special metta towards them. But, and therefore this desire camouflage as friend, and you will be bewildered, deceived, cheated, and therefore it is called near enemy of metta, because metta is much higher, very altruistic, very noble, pure, clean. Far enemy, and therefore when this near enemy desire camouflage itself as metta, you get carried away with that and you lose the real metta practice. That is why it is called near enemy. Far enemy is anger. You can very clearly see how anger hurts you and make your metta practice difficult. That is why they are called far enemies. Okay,
Thank you, Bhante G.
I think that's all time we have today. I can see your lunch time and Buddha Puja time and so forth. Then let me wind down this question period by making my final benediction. Wish may all those who are in suffering in hospitals recover very quickly, return to their normal life, to practice Dhamma, continue their practice, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all the doctors, nurses who risk their own life by taking care of their patients, they sacrifice their comfort, their security, safety out of compassion. May they continue their compassionate work and live long in good health to continue their wonderful service. And may others who have lost their loved ones and have been grief stricken, may they be free from grief and continue their Dhamma practice and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May all those who support various projects to help people in many ways, sincerely they help without any ulterior motive, may they continue their wonderful service and live long in very good health to continue their service and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. Overall, all living beings be well, happy and peaceful, and finally attain liberation. We all are pressed hard with time, and therefore this is the end of today's session. Thank you.
Bhante G.